When you first entered your human body, you were aware of your true self. You knew you were divine perfection, that you were nothing but love and goodness. Once the conditioning from the outside world began, you started to lose touch with your true self. You likely began to question your goodness, and then you may have felt unlovable, or that there was something wrong with you in some way. Our conditioning from the outside world develops our ego, which is why ego is often referred to as the conditioned self. This conditioning comes in the form of our parents, teachers, community, church, peers, and so on. Our ego is based in fear and is developed as a form of protection from the outside world. It thinks it is being helpful by giving us messages it believes we need in order to be safe, loved, and accepted. This conditioning is what causes us to think that we may be anything other than goodness and perfection. We start to question our needs, worth, lovability, and so on. No one is immune to this conditioning and the development of ego. It is part of the human condition. As children, we are completely dependent upon the adults in our lives. And if they are unable to meet our needs, we can't help but believe that this means there is something wrong with us, with our needs. This conditioning that we learn growing up remains our truth until we realize that this truth no longer fits for us, and we decide we want a life that feels better and more authentic to our true nature. We will not be free from ego by rejection, hate, avoidance, or any other negative stance. Integration and freedom from ego will only come from love and acceptance. Ego is a part of our true self, so this is why rejecting this aspect of ourselves won't rid us of the ego. It will only make things worse. Instead, we need to understand what this part of us needs in order to heal. Think of your ego as someone you'd like to befriend. In this way, you can always approach your ego in a loving and gentle way, from a place of curiosity instead of hate or rejection. At this point, you may not be able to tell the difference between your ego and your true self. Often, we have been living completely under the spell of the ego, believing that this is our truth, but it's not. I promise you that. If you are not completely happy and you don't believe yourself to be worthy of everything that you desire in this world, then your ego is surely at work. No need to worry. This is to be expected. You've had a lifetime of building up your ego, which has resulted in covering up your true self, making it hard to recognize. Sometimes our true self can have layers and layers of dust on it. As we begin to uncover the dust, it allows the light of our true self to shine through. The most important aspect of getting to know your true self is the desire to do so. If you want to, then you will. The first step in getting to know yourself is to learn to quiet the mind. The mind is not your true self. Only when the mind is quiet can you begin to know what is happening on the inside. But our minds are quite chaotic, and we can't just make them stop with the snap of a finger. Our minds require training through meditation. Meditation is the best way to practice quieting the mind so we can hear and feel what is happening on the inside. This is how we connect to our true self in the midst of the quiet. The more we visit our true self in meditation, the easier it is for us to hear it outside of meditation. It also becomes easier to differentiate between the ego and the true self.